Evening and welcome to the Quarry Valley Unified Union School District Board meeting. Today is February 8th. If you'd all please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The first order of business is the approval of the agenda.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mike. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Before we get into the agenda, I'd just like to recognize that February is School Board Appreciation Month, and we thank all GRCSU board members for their dedication and time, along with your willingness to serve your community, students, and staff. Well, Quarry Valley members of GRCSU. On the back table, there are little goodie bags for everyone. Thank you bags, a small token of our appreciation for all that you do. And board members, it's more than just the one time they come here or the one meeting a month. There's a lot of behind the scenes work that board members are doing at their local schools, supporting their schools. So when you see your board members out, just give them a thank you. All right, moving on to general public comment. We don't have any public with us. So we can move on to old business, community engagement. Lewis isn't here, so maybe, should we just wait till Lewis gets here, Chris, to talk about the handout, or did you want to discuss that?
It might be easier to wait for Lewis, because Lewis may have a copy for you all to look at, so.
Okay.
Wait till he gets here, that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, new business, Quarry Valley School Choice Policy. Chris?
Yeah, so each year at our February meeting, the Quarry Valley Board has to, just by law, has to approve school choice numbers, since numbers that students would allow in and as well as out. And I know that in the past, roughly 10 students in and 10 students out. I had an opportunity to meet with Jay, Jen, and Joe, and they're all in agreement that our recommendation to the board would be to continue with those numbers of 10 in and 10 out for school choice. So we just would need a motion up from the board, and then we can get that set in the lottery in early March.
Okay.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mike to allow 10 in and 10 out for school choice. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. We have two sets of minutes, January 2nd and January 23rd. We can do those together. A motion will be in order to approve both sets.
So moved.
Motion by Linda. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Approval of warrants. You receive your GRCSU warrants through your GRCSU email. Any questions should be directed to Lewis. A motion would be in order to approve the warrants.
So moved.
Motion by Linda. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Superintendent's report. Chris?
Thank you, Lisa. So as Lisa said, yes, this is February is the school board recommendation month, but I would like to echo what Lisa said as part of the saying thank you to all the board members for all their hard work. As you said, there is a kind of a misconception sometimes that board members only work 190 a month, and that's not true. The truth at all. You put a lot of time and effort outside of these board meetings in preparation for this, and having small conversations with community members about concerns. Holding small informal gatherings, collecting information. So it is a thankless job. I just want to say thank you. And along those same lines, I did want to make note, because particularly as we're in a very interesting budget cycle, as you've read with Act 127 and things that are going on, there's a lot of information floating around out there about school boards and administration kind of being reckless with their spending. I just want to publicly state that the Quarry Valley Board particularly has been fiscally responsible and really making some strategic decisions around resources and schools, and some very hard decisions. And I think you'll find a lot of the school districts and supervisory unions across the state find themselves in a kind of a difficult position because they have placed a lot of programs and resources on their local budgets that used to be funded with ESSER. And 3 years ago, when we met the SU board and the local boards, the commitment that the administration and the board made kind of together collaboratively was that while we understood that we had placed programs and resources in place to meet our students' needs at the time, we also knew that when those funds expired or sunsetted, we wanted to make sure that we had a transition plan. And so I just want to publicly just let the our community know just to thank our boards for the foresight in that planning, our administrators and the foresights that we're not experiencing the same issues or problems that other school districts are, where we are not placing anything on the local budget that was ESSER funded, and we have found ways to still offer the programs and services to our students and to our staff, to our families, but we've done so strategically. So I just want to publicly make note of that, because I know there is a kind of misconception or rumors floating around in communities that budgets are up because we're just spending with ESSER funds, and that's not true at all. That's a lot of our, as Lewis has stated before, a lot of our expenditures are around healthcare and other things that are out of our control. So I just wanted to publicly make that known, that and publicly say thank you to our board and our administrators for their diligence over the past 2 or 3 years. Also, in my reports, it was pretty lengthy around the mid-year legislative reports. There are a lot of information there. I'm not really going to talk about too many things specifically because there are a lot of bills that are still in-house. There are a lot of things that are being discussed. Even what's happening with Act 127 right now is still being discussed and is not really moved out. Has not been approved by the House or the Senate or the governor. If something happens there, then we will discuss that, and we will let the public know what happens next. I think Lewis may have some information for the board a little bit later on with regards to that. But there's a lot of information in there. Just please keep up to date with the legislative report. If there are any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or Lewis, or contact your local representatives or your senators as well for questions. Right. And the last piece, we'll just go around FastBridge. The administrators have completed their mid-year FastBridge assessments. They're currently looking at the data, working with staff on what this means, and taking a look at growth. And our goal will be in the March board meeting that the administrators will have the FastBridge mid-year growth for you to look at and for discuss about where they're at and what the next steps are. So that's about it. If you have any questions, please feel free. I'll answer them right now.
Any questions for Chris? Great, thank you.
And I do apologize for not being there in person. I was up in Montpelier all day, and I just got home, so thank you.
Not a problem. Thank you. Principals reports. Anything from principal reports that you'd like to highlight? I know some principals have their valedictorian, salutatorian in, so it's nice to recognize those. If you want to start, Jay?
Sure. I'll jump in. West Rutland wants to congratulate Ryan Skaza and Emily Trepanier for being actually named co-valedictorians, 2 wonderful students, completely different paths with the same exact scores in the end to determine valedictorian and salutatorian. So, and also to Grayson Skaza, who happens to be Ryan's cousin, for being named salutatorian. So great credit to all 3 of those young students. They're great. It's great to hear their career plans for after they get out of West Rutland, and it's nice to know that all 3 of them had a wide variety of choices and options for them as they graduate. So other than that, Chris did mention FastBridge. Today was the 100th day, or yesterday was the 100th day of school. So lots of celebrations across, I'm sure, all of the elementary schools. High school kids just kind of were like drones walking through the hallway. But the elementary kids, the teachers do a nice job making sure that we celebrate that as well. So, and last night we had a coffee house at the town hall. My understanding was there was a couple hundred people there last night. We were at a vision meeting.
Yeah, we were.
But that was great, and congratulations to all of our students and to Mr. Hampton and Mr. Henry for all of their work. If you've never been to a West Rutland coffee house, it is
Amazing.
unbelievable. Original music, covers, the West Rutland faculty also did a song, and with instruments and singing, and I did not know many of these people could play different instruments, and a couple of them have absolutely beautiful voices. So so kudos to them. The rest of it is in my report, and I can answer any questions, but there's certainly a lot that's been going on in all of our schools.
Great, thank you. Liz?
Sure. So you have my report. Good evening, everybody. So yes, yesterday was the 100th day of school, and it is practice that our 5th grade takes over and leads activities in the gym for everybody. So Shannon Moriarty was there yesterday taking video, so it's up on the GRCSU website if you want to watch it, and it's on our Facebook page as well. Just students, they have their own stations, and in exercises in groups of 10, students participate until they get their sticker card filled with 100 activities, or 100 different exercises. So there's a lot of energy. We did it at the end of the day because we were already very, very excited, which was nice. Last year we did it at the beginning of the day, and we were like, oh, what a great way to warm up, and it was a great way to cool down yesterday. Really enjoying having our buddies in the morning. That's been something that was brought back this year. And we're mixing just kids, pre-K and grade 4 and such and so on. Doing a lot of different activities in that. We do a STEM activity, a reading, literacy, and then the teachers get to kind of pick what they want to do. So building that community has been really, really important, trying to promote that student leadership. We began our work with Up for Learning with our 6th grade cohort, and then they have a follow-up meeting next week. So really just looking forward to the exciting, spring weather today. Certainly put a buzz in the building, and just really looking forward to a great spring. So
Great. Krista?
You have my written report, and if you have questions, let me know. I would like to thank everyone who came out to join us when we walked to school on Wednesday, our winter walk to school. We had 74 students, 11 adults, and 1 dog. And it was a very cold but a very sunny morning. So we thank Mr. Fifield for organizing the event.
Okay.
And our teacher in service tomorrow, staff, as you mentioned, will be looking at FastBridge data and then determining what interventions we're going to be putting in place moving forward, and also setting up students for progress monitoring.
Great. Thank you. Joe?
Not just the kids, that high school kids didn't realize it was 100th day of school, neither did the high school principal. So. Well, anyway, walked into Kristen's school today. I'm like, why is one of your teachers got like gray hair? She was 100th day of school. I'm like, oh. Our just a few things from and plus my written report there. Our student council yesterday surprised our teachers. For a faculty meeting, they had like tea and cookies for them, and they had this. It was great. They had this PowerPoint slideshow with all the staff, included administration as well, and with pictures, and just like the kids had like 3 or 4 quotes on there, like best teacher. They're the really nice. Always makes me smile. It goes great. So it's kind of nice. Just a good way to start out.
What was the word that one of them used, and the teacher asked about it?
It said, "You're the bomb."
You're the bomb. And the teacher goes, "Is that good?"
Is that good or not? Yeah.
that was cute.
Our PTO is in its 2nd year, and they're trying to get some community relations. So we're having our 2nd annual cornhole tournament on March 1st, which last year we just tried it, and it was a great turnout. The only caveat is the team has to have a Pontley High School student on it, but I saw parents in there that I've never seen, of like juniors and sophomores that, living in town too, it was nice to see them in the building. So hopefully it's a good tradition we go on that. And I do have, our senior trip is finalized, and I need an approval for the board. We are looking at May 21st and 22nd overnight, so I'll probably be coming back on the 23rd. And the New Jersey, New York City area. Don't quite have all the itinerary down yet, but just only 2 nights this year.
You're getting old. All right.
As you said, aren't we all?
Motion would be in order to approve the senior trip for Poultney High School to travel to the New York, New Jersey area.
So moved.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Lewis went to print something off, so we're just gonna pop down to contract recommendations. We have support staff, Amy Lear, Proctor Elementary, pre-K para, $16.66 an hour. Extracurricular, Deanna Rodolphe, West Rutland Book Club Advisor, this is new, with a $600 stipend. David Bartlett, West Rutland Varsity Baseball Coach, 25.
Junior. That's Bartlett Junior.
Oh, okay. $2,500 stipend. Lori Seriani, West Rutland Varsity Softball Coach, $4,000 stipend. Michaela Taylor, West Rutland 7-8 Softball Coach, $1,000 stipend. And Christopher Johnson, West Rutland 7-8 Baseball Coach, $750 stipend. A motion would be in order to approve the contract recommendations.
So moved.
Discussion. I would just think that since the book club is new, maybe it should be the Quarry Valley Book Club housed at West Rutland. Since when we merged, we said all new things would be Quarry Valley titled.
We can do that.
Yeah. I think that way then if it doesn't happen, let's say at West Rutland in a couple of years and it happens someplace else, it's not problematic. All right. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. And we'll slide back to Lewis for the financials for the monthly. And also in your packet, you have the trash bids that we talked about at the SU earlier this week.
We'll start with the trash bid. So I'm not looking for any action on that. It was kind of just an FYI. There was, earlier this year, there was just some discussions about going back out to bid and trying to get better pricing. When we went out to bid in 2018, we went out as an SU, and the requirement was that the same vendor provided service for all our districts. We only got one bid at the time. We went back out to bid currently, and we left it open to if there was a vendor that wanted to provide service for only one of our schools, if that was going to be cheaper, then we left that option open. We still only got one bid, which was Casella's. They're really the only vendor that is got the capacity to service our schools, so we will be sticking with them. But one of the concerns was the increase in price, and there's really two reasons for the increase in price over the years. One is because inflation and where they're bringing the waste to is increasing their prices, so then therefore that's increasing our price. But the second reason is a couple years ago the state passed the compost law, which was new for all of our schools, and that does add a cost that we weren't paying in the past. We're currently paying, I think, it's $31.20 per 32-gallon tote for each one of those totes. So if you just think about if you're in the schools, they're probably filling quite a few of those on a regular basis. So that is an added cost. We did talk about this at the SU board meeting, and I'm going to get more data as far as how many totes we're filling at each school on a weekly basis, monthly basis, so that we can start looking, and some schools already do this, we're looking for local farmers or anyone that can use that compost, so we're not paying somebody to take it. Maybe somebody can come and they have use for it, they can come get it for free, and it's saving both of us. Any questions on that?
Kristen?
I have a question about the logistics of that. So, sorry, my voice is not good with COVID hanging out right here, but
Can't hear you.
I've talked to farmers who would like to come and pick up compost, but they have some, specifications of maybe not including certain things, and I'm just wondering if we have the staffing capacity in our schools to not put it all together if a farmer or farmers requested that. Do you know what I mean? So maybe like not having orange rinds in there or something because of chickens or whatever. I don't know that we have the capacity to do that. I'm just wondering if that's something we could look into, because I know there's farmers around totally interested in compost. It just, they don't want certain stuff to be in there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, a couple things on that. I mean, if we're paying somebody to be monitoring what we're discarding, then, I mean, is that gonna offset the cost that we're gonna have of giving our compost away? And I know there's other benefits to giving it away, but the compost isn't just going to waste, it's being used by whoever's collecting it. So I don't think that would be a cost savings, because you'd have to have somebody monitoring it. I mean, you're having kids go up to, especially in the elementary school, go up to these containers and dispose of it. So I mean, I'm sure they do their best, and there's signs as to what they can get rid of, but if we're getting too specific, it's going to, I mean, is it going to work? What's it gonna cost to get that specific? And is it still gonna be followed? And how many more trash cans are we going to need to have in order to be following those specifics? So, I mean, I don't think that's too easy to do.
Kristen, is it meat? Is it the fact of meat going in? No?
No, it just depends what kind of livestock farmers have. Some of them will take it all and it doesn't matter. I know folks with chickens don't want, I mean, there probably aren't coffee grounds in our elementary schools, but possibly in, high school level. But things like citrus, things that are pretty acidy, they don't really give to chickens. But, I think if we could find the right partners, I think it could work. I think that's just, I just wondered the feasibility, and Louis, you addressed that. Like, we want to make it as easy as possible for the staffing on the inside of the building that has to deal with it, so.
Yeah. I think Louis at the SU people had asked to kind of get an idea like what each building puts out. So when people go back into their communities and speak to farmers, you have an idea of what the capacity is. We had a farmer that was taking it in our community. I'm not sure if she still does, but, it depends on how much we're putting out. So maybe once we get that information, it'll be a little easier. And we could always try to pilot that someplace. And if we had a list and put on there that says what you can and can't put on there and see. It could be a literacy test also. Okay.
So if no other questions, moving on to budget. So what was just passed around is the flyer that we mailed to everybody's home for Quarry Valley towns. We switched from a trifold to this bifold, 2 pages, so that we could fit more information in there. So at this point, that is complete. It's going to the printers tomorrow. The annual booklets are complete, and actually, we just got a call today saying they're ready for pickup.
Great.
So we plan to pick those up early next week and start dispersing those to the communities, probably Monday or Tuesday. PEG TV presentations are finished, and they're going up on the website. They may already be up there, and those will be going to PEG TV. If they haven't already, probably tomorrow, Monday at the latest. But they are on the website. The booklets will be on the website. The flyers are not on the website, but we can definitely put them up there.
But the flyer has a QR code. Does that take you to the website or no?
The flyer has a QR code right on the cover of it. That'll bring you to the website,
Yeah.
the budget section of the website. So any questions on those items first?
Louis, is it possible to email us the flyer just because I'm not there? Sorry, I apologize for not being there today.
Kristen, I just sent it to you.
Oh, awesome, thank you.
I just sent it to you, Kristen, like 2 minutes ago. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions on those?
You did, on you explained things so nicely. When it comes to, when it says equalized pupils, LTW, ADM, Can we put something in what it means, so people could read what else?
So there, we have added a glossary on our website
Okay.
of financial terms. This, it's too late to edit this for something like that. I mean, this has already been finalized. I did pass it around on Tuesday, looking for feedback to the Quarry Valley board members that were at the SU meeting.
Yeah. No, I'm just asking. It's not, I'm not,
Yep.
just asking.
But we did add 2 pieces of glossary terms on the website. There's a link to the state website, which has the A to Z, which has,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe hundreds of different glossary terms, but then there was a document which was more limited to school glossary terms, like average daily membership and CLA and stuff like that. So those terms are on there, so we're encouraging people to go to our website and see what materials are on there.
That's good.
And then as far as what's going on with the budgets and finance and at the state level, we talked a little bit about this on Tuesday. There is concern about the 5% cap and the financial pressure that's putting on the ed fund. So there has been a lot of discussions about passing a bill that removed the 5% cap from Act 127 and putting a different mechanism in place. So for Quarry Valley, if the 5% cap was removed, it does not impact Quarry Valley because we're not at the 5% cap. So it doesn't directly impact Quarry Valley. It does indirectly impact Quarry Valley in a positive way because right now, if there is a 5% cap, it's going to drive down the yield, which increases local taxes. If the cap is removed, it brings up the yield, which would lower your local taxes. So what's currently being discussed is removing the yield, removing the cap and putting instead in its place a tax credit, like a penny tax credit, like a certain amount of pennies, that will transition out over the next 5 years. So in year 1, it will be the full amount. In year 2, it's 80%. In year 2, 60%. And they're basing that based on how your pupil count was impacted from last year to this year. So if you had a 10% reduction in pupil count, then they're going to give you a 10-cent tax credit in year 1, and then in year 2 would be 80% of that 10 cents, so you would get 8 cents, and then 6 cents, 4 cents, and 2 cents until eventually it went to 0. Quarry Valley, so this is all just discussion at this point, nothing has been passed. So as of Tuesday, the impact to Quarry Valley was that Quarry Valley was going to receive a 1 cent credit for the first 3 years, because 80% of 1 is still 0.8, which rounds up to 1. And then in year 2, it's 60% of 1, which is 0.6, which would still round up to 1. And in the last 2 years, it would be 0 cents. As of today, that has been changed, so now it's up to 3 cents in year 1. I think it was 3 cents in year 2, 2 cents in year 3, and then 1 cent, and then 0 cents. Something like. So it has improved for Quarry Valley. Again, this is just discussion at this point. We don't really know what's going to pass, but I think anything that's being discussed that I've heard would have a positive impact on Quarry Valley versus what we have presented in here, what we've presented in our booklets. So none of our presentation information that we're sending to the public has any information that's being discussed at the State House at this time, because at this time it's just discussion. So if things change, we'll have to discuss it at town meeting. We can put information on our website, but that's really, we won't have time to really send anything out to the community because they're talking, if this could take weeks before they really have anything approved.
Is that pupil count fixed so that it won't change from year to year? So I mean, they're picking to say 2023 as the pupil count date year.
So the credit discount, yes, that is a fixed amount based on FY24 to FY25.
Right, so it won't
Yeah.
change.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
at this time. Yeah.
It sounded like today, they're definitely gonna do the 5-year glide, take off the cap, and now it's just kind of,
Details.
yeah, transitioning, that's what they keep
Yeah, and then
calling
with
it.
this new transition plan, they're talking about the yield going from, so all of our documents are using the tax commissioner's yield of 94.52. The first plan on Tuesday, I think, was bringing the yield up to 9,700.
Yeah,
9,700 and change, and then I think now they're talking about a yield of 9,600 and change. So those are both all positives, so the increase in the yield brings down local tax rates.
right. And so you probably hear a lot about them saying also you could, part of that is that you can push your budget off and that, and we're going to go forward and have our vote at town meeting and not change our dates. No one in the SU is changing their dates.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. I just wanted to say that out loud in the meeting so that everyone is clear, whoever watches this, that we are sticking with the plan. We're not planning on delaying, so.
Right,
I did get a call from our clerk
oh,
today about that as well.
yeah, because you have no idea when it's gonna become law, so, and if the change happens, then it's to our benefit, but there's no advantage to push it off to wait to see if the change happens, so, because tax bills don't go out till July anyway, so any impact would be in your tax bill. All right, anything else, Louis?
That's it.
All right, moving on to policies. We have for second read, F2, search and seizure of students and property by school personnel. A motion would be in order to approve the second read.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mike. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. For first reads, we have E9, animals on school grounds. E14, fiscal management and general financial accountability. E15, capitalization of assets. F3, GRCSU driver's education for resident students in tuition school districts. H5, Title I, Part A, parent and family engagement. A motion would be in order to move the first reads to second reads.
So moved.
Motion by Linda. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. General public comment. Is there anything the public would like to speak to the board about?
Sure.
Okay.
My name is Dave Carmen from Proctor. Had a question regarding school choice. Noticed that the West Rutland school choice is out on the website, but the Proctor's is not. Just want to see if there's a way to get that on there.
I'm sure it'll be on. We just approved school choice tonight, so I'm sure it'll be on shortly or this week. That would be a call to go directly to the schools rather than being addressed here.
Well, we have addressed it with the school, asked about it, so that's why I'm here.
Okay. I'm sure it'll be on the website. Anything else?
I was wondering, I'm sorry, I was a little late, so I missed the beginning. Can you tell us how many you approve? Is it?
It's 10 in and 10 out.
Okay, thank you.
And your name?
Sarah Sion.
And I'm not sure currently how many we have outed each school. That would be something the schools would have to be able to tell you. Okay, anything else?
Lisa, could you have both members of the public spell their names, please, just for Sean, our so she can enter that to the record?
I have Dave's name, and I think I have Sarah's also, S-E-H-O-R-N.
Okay, all right.
S-E-H-O-N.
Okay, thank you.
S-E-H-O-N, all right. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. All right, future meeting dates, we have our annual meeting in Proctor on February 27th. Remember, that is at 7 o'clock, not 6 o'clock, so that's important. And our reorganization meeting will be March 12th, and we'll meet here, and then at that meeting, people can decide if you want to travel to other buildings for the meetings. The GRCSU, that's something that they are going to be doing, so board members can become familiar with other schools within the SU. So just something to think about when you come back in March. Before we move into executive session for personnel contracts, I just want to say thank you to Kristen Ross. I'm sorry you can't be here with us tonight, but this is Kristen's last meeting. She's not running again, and Kristen has been on the board since the merger. So she's been through a lot of stuff and very helpful and on the communication committee and all kinds of things. And I'm sure we'll still see her helping out and doing things. And I'll give Linda your goodie bag to bring to you.
I'll drop it off on the porch.
As you slow down.
All right, motion would be in order at 6:39 to move into executive session for personnel contracts.
Make the motion.
Motion by Mike, discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. So we'll take a little break while Peg TV cleans up.